Well, the people have spoken. Hello, welcome back to Crushing Sounds. My name is Chris, and today I'm looking at the 10th studio album from Metalcore legends Trivium. So, formed at the end of the 90s and releasing their first album in 2003, Trivium quickly rose through the ranks of metalcore and became one of the leading figures of the genre, with a rocky road of albums, some being utterly seminal in the scene and some rather uneven ones as well. The band have dropped their 10th album, In the Court of the Dragon. I never really dived into Trivium, I will confess. I have heard plenty of it, to be sure, and I have seen them live as well. It was a show in Bristol where they were supported by Code Orange and Venom Prison, so yeah, that was an amazing show. The band played really well, so they're great live as well, to boot. I think the reason why I never really delved into their music was because, of course, as people know, for the longest time I was never really the biggest fan of metalcore music. That whole chanty stadium chorus thing is never something I ever really got into. Also, I knew that some of their albums past their 6th album, Vengeance Falls, a lot of fans were starting to sour a little bit on the band's music, so I was never really never really enticed to check them out or give them a go, although I am reliably informed that they have turned things around since those albums. Also, I think the song In Waves is thoroughly overrated, but whatever. That being said, I am coming around to core music in metal. I really like Killswitch Engage, and I hear these two bands being compared quite a lot. I also really like Code Orange, and I enjoyed the new album by Spiritbox. Maybe I'll review that album one day, we'll see. So I have heard plenty of Trivium by now, and I have liked the majority of what I have heard. Not enough to give me a complete overview of their discography, but enough to make me want to dive into more. But anyway, we reached a new album, In the Court of the Dragon. I'm going to be super shallow here and say I was keen mostly to give this album a look because I love the artwork so much. I love dragons. They're just amazing. I was thinking maybe this album might have been inspired by mythology, which I also really do enjoy, but according to Matt on a brilliant Knotfest interview, which I will link down below, you definitely should give it a read, these songs are about mythologies the band have come up with, their own worlds that they've created, so I really like that aspect. I think that's really, really cool. They say never judge a book by its cover, but hell, it's what got me to check out the album, so how is the music itself? So after one of those noise-based intro tracks, which I of course love so much, we get into the title track of the album to boot things off, and boot things off it does. The title track is fucking massive. It sounds huge, it has a terrific pacing, and Matt Heafy's vocals sound super awesome. He's got so much better as a vocalist over the years, it's ridiculous. This opening song is a very honest representation of what you're getting into from this album. Really heavy chugging, fast as fuck drumming, soaring melodies, and so many riffs. These guys are riff machines. So many times about this album I was going, oh, that's a cool riff, and then I'd be saying that again 2 seconds later. It's really solid guitar work on this album. Heck, even the guitars in the solo of the title track remind me a lot of some Chuck Schuldiner style guitar soloing, which is of course never ever a bad thing. This all carries over into Like a Sword Over Damocles, one of the first massive choruses on the album, even more soaring than the title track. One for people to go crazy for live, I am sure. Towards the end of the song, though, we get one of the many times this album just goes full thrash metal. It's blistering and it's heavy as fuck before launching off into another soaring chorus. Crisis Revelation is where I got some serious Killswitch Engage vibes, that fast alternate picking in the verses, and the chorus had some Jesse-style melody to the vocals as well. But much like the rest of the album, this song goes in a completely new direction in the second half. On repeated listens, I noticed more how the album loves to mix things up in the second half of each song. Here, for example, the riffing slows right down and gets more beatdown-like and brutal, and at around the 3:30 mark, we get a really cool bit where the bass can be heard really clearly, and it sounds really cool before the guitar comes in to join it as well. I would guess a lot of people are going to come away saying that Shadow of the Abattoir is their favourite track on the album. It's a little over 7 minutes, which is quite long for a metalcore song. The first two verses are very low, very brooding, almost they are drawing you right in to then blow you away with a massive chorus. I do think the transition from verse to chorus could be a little bit smoother. It's very sudden, it's very abrupt, and the fact it does it twice for the first chorus and then again for the second chorus, by the time that second one comes around, it's not nearly as impactful as I feel the band think it is. I'm not saying it needs to be a slow climb to that chorus, but it does feel a little bit like an awkward gear shift. That being said though, the chorus is huge. It's one of the most epic parts of the entire album, and the band clearly love that melody because it's referenced by the guitar in the intro as well and comes in at the end of the guitar solo again. I really like the alternate version of the chorus at the end of the song as well. Rather than just repeat the chorus twice, which would have been a really obvious thing to do, they change the words a little bit. It makes it a little bit more interesting and gives it a really nice ending. So I think for the chorus alone, that's why a lot of people are going to come away with this being one of the more memorable tracks on the album, and it is really good. I just think there's a couple transitional errors here and there. I've seen people call this a prog song, or a song with prog influences in it. I don't hear that at all. Just because a song is over 7 minutes does not automatically make it prog, but I do agree they were definitely trying something very lofty with this track and on other tracks in the second half of the album, which I really do admire. A few transitional things here and there, but nothing that really brings the song down. Fall Into Your Hands is another one of the longest songs. I love the ensemble bit towards the end. Apparently Ishan, I'm definitely getting his name wrong there, but the guy from Emperor was responsible for that bit, and I love it. It's really cool. I'd almost like to hear more of that on the album. That's just a me thing though. I love that kind of classical instrumentation in heavy metal, so the album perhaps doesn't need that all the way through, but I can't help but want more of it. It's really nice. The closing track is also awesome. I think it's pronounced the Phalanx. It kind of has everything. Soaring chorus, brutally heavy bits, and some awesome orchestration during a really epic build-up which leads to our conclusion. Always love a closing track to feel like a closing track, and this certainly achieves that. It's a very epic end to the album. So yeah, I guess I've sung the praises of this album all the way through, really. I really enjoyed In the Court of the Dragon. There's not a huge amount to say about it. It's just really infectiously riff oriented, really entertaining, really epic. It's just solid all the way through, really. I'll be curious to see how I will enjoy their previous albums, because I'm definitely now down for going more in depth into the band to see what I've been missing, really. There were some transitional problems, I say again, during the longest songs, but on the whole, I think this album is just really fucking solid. Great melodies, blisteringly fast, and heavy as hell moments as well. I've used the word metalcore a few times in this review, but honestly, it feels like there was a lot more influence from thrash on this album as well. We don't get a lot of the major trappings that you normally get in a metalcore album. It doesn't feel repetitive in the slightest. They don't overly rely on low chugging beatdowns as well. This album's a little over 50 minutes, but it flies by every time I listen to it. My favourite song on the album? Probably the title track. I've heard it so many times, it's so good, but I love Crisis Revelation as well, and the closing track is also awesome. So yeah, this album is great. Let me know down below which Trivium album I should get to next if I want to get more out of the band, and let me know what you thought of Court of the Dragon. Does it do much for long-time fans of the band, or is this up there as one of their greats? You'll let me know, I'm sure. Thanks as always for watching. Go listen to some amazing heavy metal, and I'll see you all in the next video.